Hello friends, in the last video we saw the basics of the chain control. Now we will see the chain control content writing. How to write a change control in the what section we have to consider. Chain control is a control decision and is not just to complete the formality. So first define the change with details. What the changes are proposed, what is the requirement, was the chain control initiated. This needs to be assessed on existing system, software, licenses, etc. Then approval of the cross-functional team who are impacted. Like suppose the change control is initiated by the production, then a review by the QA, then a QC, warehouse, purchase team, HR team, likewise. If required, the change control needs to be sent to contract giver or the MH for their concerns and the approval. Once it is approved, the proposed changes and the identified actions shall be implemented as per the assigned timeline. Then checking of the effectiveness for the implemented changes, and if it is satisfactory, then the same change control needs to be closed. So description should be unambiguous. Assessment should be based on the quality risk management concept, should be thoroughly reviewed, and the detail should be given for easy assessment and closure of the actions. Here we see the contents in the chain control. So what the basic contents we have to consider in the chain control for the writing. First is the title. Short description of the change to be proposed should be given here, like the revision of the documents like specification, SOP, test method, site master file, validation master plan, introduction of new equipment or the instrument, upgradation in the software or the introduction of the new software, likewise. Then we have to give what the changes relates to what, either it is related to material or the product or the equipment or the instrument or the software or the utility or the document, etc. So according to the relevancy we have to consider the relation. So what to be considered in the current status. So here we have to give what the procedure defined and followed as per the SOP number so and so or the approved documents, or the details of the material or the product, equipment, instrument, software, utility, etc. should be defined here along with the practices or the specification or the details currently followed or the available. Now we have to define the proposed change. What to be proposed in the material, product, equipment, instrument, software, utility or the document. Like suppose we have to change the material in XYZ formulation or the vendor for the API change. Then the product, suppose we have to introduce one new product or the alternative brand. Then the introduction of the new equipment or the replacement of the existing equipment. Same is applicable for the instrument. And the software upgradation or the purchase of the new software like QMS software, training management system, document management system, etc. Then the changes related to the utility, increase in capacity, specification, safety features, etc. This also includes scope of proposed change or specific details like specification features as applicable. Based on the actual details, we have to define the proposed change. It should be clear and precise for the understanding and clarity to the assessor or the auditor. Then we have to give justification for the proposed change. On what basis we are proposing the change or why we are proposing this change? To improve or assure the patient safety, product quality, business need, or alternative to existing one can be given here, or as per the QA segment, like suppose we have proposed an kappa. So if there is a reference document number, then we have to give a reference document number here for the easy traceability. Then we have to give an attachments. Suppose if any document is approved and recommendation section is given there, then we have to attach the documents like trend data or the PQR outcome or the validation outcome or the OEM recommendation likewise. Then we have to assess the received change control. You can consider the risk management approach here, or you can make a checklist. On that basis you can identify the impacted things or the activities or the system. So first QA will assess the received change for the impact. Then if any other cross-functional department is affected, then the change control shall be forwarded to all the cross-functional team for the assessment and their comments, like manufacturing department, engineering department, QC department, regulatory, EHS, supply chain as applicable. This includes revision of documents like SOP, specification, test method, SMF, VMP, protocol, batch record, validation and qualification activities, variation filings, etc. If suppose you propose one SOP revision and in reference if any other department SOP is affected, in that case other department will identify the SOPs and put in their comments as a part of assessment. If required, we have to send this change control to the contract giver or the MH if we are in the contract manufacturing business. So once we send the change control to the CG or MH will assess at their end for the notification to health authority or the variation filing requirement. After receiving of the concerns from the contract giver or the marketing authorization holder, head QA will assess all the comments given by the cross-functional team and the contract giver or the marketing authorization holder. Based on that, head QA will decide for the approval or rejection of the change control. In both the cases, QA has to inform to all relevant department and the concerned responsible person for the decision, either it is approved or rejected. If it is approved, then responsible person will go for the implementation of the proposed changes along with the identified action as per the defined target completion dates. After the implementation, user and QA person will check the effective implementation of the changes. Here we have to check our purpose for the proposed change is fulfilled or not. If it is fulfilled, that means our change implemented is successful. If not, then we have to relook into the other action. Once the effectiveness check found satisfactory, then change control shall be closed. This activity can be done by QA personnel or the head QA or the designee. This is purely based on the organization procedure.